Hi everyone, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. I'm here today to show you how to make a classic chocolate cake using only one bowl. So that means less cleanup, which is always makes for a happy baker. So we're going to get started and I'll go over all the ingredients right now. So the ingredients that you're going to need to make this cake: 2 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, and combined in here we have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. You will need 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, half a cup of butter, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So the first things you want to mix all together into the bowl are all of your dry ingredients. So that's the flour, your 1.5 cups of sugar, and the baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So just put your mixer on low and mix that for about 30 seconds, just so it's all mixed up. Once it's fully mixed here, what we want to do is add the milk, 1 cup, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and the 1/2 cup of butter. So I'm just going to turn it back to low and turn the mixer on low speed, because whenever you're adding wet ingredients, you want to add them quite slowly. So just gradually dumping your milk in there. And your vanilla. And I'm going to cut the butter up into cubes. I just find that it makes it mix up a little bit easier. I'm going to add the cubes one at a time. I'm going to turn this up to medium speed. It's going to beat for a minute at the higher speed, and at the same time I'm going to melt the chocolate. And this is 2 ounces of chocolate. I think I might have missed that in the beginning. So I'm going to turn it up and I'm going to head to the microwave to melt the chocolate. Okay, so we've completed the mixing process and I've melted the chocolate. I'm just going to show you what the batter looks like here. It's quite smooth, there's no lumps, it's just perfect looking cake batter. And the chocolate as well, it's just smooth, free of lumps, just come out of the microwave. You want it to be nice and melted and warm. So the next step, what I'm going to do is turn it back on to low to add the ingredients. 2 eggs are going in, one at a time. And then I'm going to get all of this delicious chocolate in there. So at this point, before I put it onto its final whip, I'm going to turn the mixer off and do a scraping of the bowl, just to make sure that everything has gotten up out of the bottom and it's all mixing in. Especially when you incorporate chocolate in, you can definitely tell if you've got it mixed all in or not. Okay, so we're going to put it on again for about a minute, medium speed. Get it all mixed together. Okay, so the batter's been mixing for about a minute. The same consistency as it was when before we added the eggs and the chocolate. It looks perfect, looks great. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to prepare your cake pans. And this cake makes a 9-inch cake. So a trick that I've shown before, and I have to give credit where credit is due to my mom. She showed me how to do this little trick before. So what you do is you flip your cake pans over. You can use this on any size and any shape of cake pan. I've tried it on most of them. I'm going to bring out enough wax paper for both of the cakes. And what I'm going to do is just take the bottom of my open scissor blade, trace around the outside of it so I can see the marking, and then just going to pick it up, cut around those tracing marks. And they will fit perfectly inside your cake pans. Give them a good spray of a non-stick cooking spray. Put your wax paper on the bottom, another quick spray, and your second one. And then we're going to divide up our cake batter here. So, scrape off that beater, sorry. You want to get all that batter put into your cake. And then I'm just going to eyeball it. You can use a measuring spoon if you want to. Put one cup in each one and alternate back and forth. But I find that tends to be a little bit messy. And this way is just as easy. So when you think you've got about equal in both of them, you just want to gently mix them around so they are closer to the edges. They don't have to touch the edge exactly, just want them to be closer. When they start to heat up in the oven, they'll move all around and reform right to the pan. Also, a good little tip is to just kind of bang the bottom like that. And if you have a cake that's particularly airy, you might get the bubbles banged out of it then. So this cake needs to go into the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. So when that time is up, we'll be back to show you it out of the oven. Okay, the cakes are done now. They've been in the oven for 31 minutes, it turns out. So you want to put them onto a cooling rack of some sort. It has a little bit of elevation, allows for air movement underneath it. You can tell that a cake is finished simply by just touching the top and watching it spring back. So if you were to touch the top and your indentation of your finger stayed there, it probably needs a couple more minutes. Another indication that your cake has finished is that it's slightly pulled away from the edge of the pan. That's another sign that you're good to go. So we're going to let this sit here for about 10 minutes and then I'll show you how to remove the cakes from the pans. So the cakes are cool to touch for me to flip them over out of the pan. But what you first want to be able to do is to make sure that there are no places where the cake is caught up on the edge. So I'm just going to use the back of the butter knife just to go around the cake pan, just to make sure that it's free. See, caught up in that spot. So this one might be a little bit trickier to take out. Just want to make sure that you've got everything away from the pan, because if that corner had stayed stuck when you went to flip it over, it would take a chunk of the cake with it, and that would not be any good. So I'm just going to grab the cake pan here, flip it over, give it a little tap, a little shake, and it should come out nice and clean. Wax paper, and that's all there is to that. See how this one comes out? Hopefully it's not chunky. No, we were lucky. Wax paper does the trick. So before you're able to move on at any point for this kind of a cake, you have to make sure that your cake is completely cooled. So if I was going to go on and frost this cake, you'd have to make sure it was totally cool, and then you could start your frosting process. If you're interested in learning how to do that, we're going to be doing a follow-up video on how to make chocolate frosting and how to cover your cake in chocolate frosting. We also already have one up on our YouTube channel on how to make a homemade vanilla buttercream. So if you want to take that jump over to that video, watch it and send us any of your questions, comments, or concerns. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed learning how to make a chocolate cake from scratch.